Mesechta Zevachim. We're starting Gimel Amud Aleph. The last two lines, last two words on Beis Amud Beis. Okay. Here, Rabbi Shane is here. Okay. Okay. Elamiyah. So yesterday we. Oh, Mitzvah. I see. So okay. Yesterday we learned when it comes to stama by get, it's going to be puzzle. Stama by Zevachim, it's going to be kosher. Let me explain. By get, what do you mean stama puzzle? Let's say a person was walking in the marketplace, and he hears how the scribes are writing Sarah. Shimon is divorcing Sarah, and he passes by. Oof! Quick for me. If this is Mamash Ashgacha Pratis, for me.
Shimon, that's my wife.
Yeah, it's perfect. So the Gemara says it's not going to be a get because it wasn't lishma, lishma for the sake of this couple. And the Gemara says lavdafke, maybe stama. If it wasn't lishma, it's going to be kosher. That case was a case of talmidim learning how to write, so it has nothing to do with a person writing a get for the purpose of divorcing. A sefer used to accumulate a whole bunch of gittin with the nusach, without writing in the names. So they should be, on the spot. They have right away get ready to order. But okay. You're ready to get married. Now, Beis Amud Beis, the last two words. So we couldn't prove from that case that if it's not lishma, it's not going to be a good get. There, it's in addition to not being lishma, it wasn't written for the purpose of a get that there should be a krisus. There was students learning how to write the letters. It's like, I'll bring you a rye from here. Only the rye will be from here. This is today's Gemara. That stama, if it was with Gimel Amud Aleph, was starting. Yes, we're going to bring a case where the get was written for krisus. L'mashal, Kosov legadosh asistei. Somebody wrote a get to divorce his wife. And he was contemplating, listen, if she continues this way, the yeyavah from the get, that's it. But Nimlach, and then he changed his mind, she turned in, she became an angel, a malach, that's it. So he decided he changed his mind, he wants her back. He's not giving her a get. Mitzvah ben Idai, but his friend came in with black and blue marks like he originally used to get. And he says, look, babe, we have the same name, and I have a problem with my wife. Let's give me the get that you were planning to give. The same names. My name is like your name. The wife's name is the same. So it should be. So let me make an exchange. Give me the get. It's forbidden to divorce. So here you have an ayah. It was written for krisus. It was a stam get, and we said it's no good. So do you want to know
why was it something he had in mind that
wait. Says Yimon, it's not exactly stam. The only shani hasim there is different. The integlay l'shem gerish and dahu. There, that get was written for a specific couple, and then it fell apart. Baruch Hashem. And
what about
it's marzes gurushas is a geisa mitzvah, but that's nach five marzes gurushas. There was no returning of a gerusha, but right. That's what I was saying. But I'm saying, so he was saying it's a halva mitzvah. He took it back. Anyway, Bekitzer. So over here, there it's different because it's written for a couple, and so this it's written for this couple and it fell apart. You can't write it for another couple. So maybe it's different. But what's if it was stopped? The Sefer wrote L'Shem Krisus. Whoever will happen to come by will go for. There wasn't no specific. He didn't have a mind for any couple. Here it was written for a mind of one couple. It's different.
What has to be the names? Let's say he writes the whole typus of the get, and he has it available, right? So
right.
Without the name.
Without the name. Usually you have to leave out without the name. But he's saying he wrote. Let's say there was with the name. He wrote names. Famous names, Mendy and Sarah Cohen. These are famous names, okay? So Moshe and all the cones. So you had those cones lined up, and what will happen? So We say if he didn't intend for any couple, so maybe it would be good. Here it's different. It was written for specifically for a couple. Says yes, okay. Yes, he has two wives. The same names. He has a tall one and a short one.
How does he call them?
It's Sarah big, Sarah short. Sarah shorty, Sarah tolly. Biggie. So he says like this. He has two wives with the same names. Kasa Legadish Sagdela. He wrote to get to divorce the taller one. Well, you got by Sakatana. He cannot use it for the Katana. Now he changed his mind. You know what? The little one is the troublemaker. I got to get rid of her.
They both have the same name.
Yeah.
But how can you tell him to get that it was written for the big one? He wrote a name. How do you know what he had in mind?
He had in mind.
Has to be the show.
He had in mind. We knew he had in mind for the bigger one.
You have to tell the cipher. I'm writing this get for the big.
It doesn't matter. It's the same name. But he did tell her. He said it's for the bigger one. Doesn't matter. Here it's different. Why is this different than the first case? Because here the man is the same man. It's not a different couple. It's a man, but it's just he's using, instead of this wife, he's using the shorty one. He's going after the short one. Says he wanted to Shani Hassan. Maybe they're still different. It was for that specific woman. When he wrote it, it was for a specific woman. Now he's changing for the tall one. Now he's changing for the short one. So that's already it's no good. Says only from here. Yes, Kane. It says, he says to the sefer, save, write a get. He says, write a get. I'll decide if then I have two troublemakers, but I'll get rid of one of them, and then they'll learn a lesson. The other one won't play games. So he doesn't know which one yet. Just write it up. Okay. So he says, Pasal Gadish, he cannot use it.
Wow.
And so the Chayda was Stama.
He didn't have anybody.
So Stama Pasal, he has to have it specifically in mind. Maybe it says, you want to know. Maybe it's different than Breda. It's not, you don't say Breda. You don't say, oh, it's Baruch Mafreya, that's what he had in mind. So he says, the B'shas Aksiba, he had in mind for one or the other. We have to say he had in mind for one or the other.
We say yes, Breda, no?
Oh, but we say in Breda. So it says Breda, we don't say this is what he had in mind, the Mafreya. And since we don't say Breda, that is what he had in mind, the Mafreya. So when they wrote it, he specifically had one of the two in mind. Yeah. There's one of them was making him more trouble than the other.
Well, both are making trouble.
Yeah, but he already had. But in his mind, he was already looking at one.
So what's the answer? Shani Hossam Dain Breda.
Dain Breda means if you would say yes, Breda. So you say, hey, whatever he divorced now, Huvra don't afraid of that. When they wrote it, it was l'shem this isha. Then it's fine. You're saying hey, Breda. We don't say Huvra don't afraid at the time of the ksiva. So if you don't say Huvra don't afraid at the time of the ksiva, he did have somebody in mind, not the same one. So that's why it's not going to be a good get. Says the Gemara Elameha. Only from here. It says those who write the nusach get. There's a nusach, okay? He has to leave place, empty space in the get. He has to leave empty space in the nusach get. The name of the man, the woman, the edim, and the place and the time. Okay. You also have to leave out the wording of Harei At. Behold, you are mutter to everybody. That's what a get is all about. That you should be able to marry anybody. So that's perfect. Now, if you're saying stama is kosher. So what's wrong with writing Harei? What's wrong? So even a get that was written stam l'shem geishin, why is it possible? Because the Harei Apnoteres has to be l'shem specifically for a person. So we know stama by a get is possible because it has to be l'shma. The name has to be l'shma. You have to leave the space for the names. Every of the woman, the man, the place, and Areyat Muteres, and this that she should be mutter to everybody. Don't write it in the Tefes Aget because a get You have to have all this in mind. It has to be at the time of the
right.
right.
The typhus before you see.
The typhus you could, but the Hadayat Matan Chaladim leave out. Okay, so the Yimad, so that's what we concluded. Stoma by get is what? Vassal. Stoma by kachim. Let's say he had a mind l'shem chatas. He designated a carbon for chatas, and then he said he shachted it l'shem stam, empty head, like some people by mistake daven shmeinasa go through al shmeinasa by mistake, not knowing where they were at that time. It could be empty, stomach, blank.
You know people like that.
In Leipzig, where are you from?
Yeah. Okay, so he says if you had a mind by a carbon, we're going to say stama you designated for a chatos, and later on it was stama when you shachted it, you didn't have a mind. We lie it's a chatos, it's good. Stama by gedushin, no good. We say it has to be lishma. Right by the giving it has to be specifically. It's for this man, for this woman. Harei at, you woman, amuter lecholad. Okay. Now there was another shaila that they told their papa, you missed it. You didn't come to the city of Chemla where Chermoin, where Rabba was saying drushes. He said, unbelievable students in halachas. And here's another pearl that he missed. He told.
Who didn't come?
Rabba, Papa. That's what it said yesterday. I'll give you a second. Yeah, Amalei Avinu ya Papa. Avinu said to Papa, "Oh, like Havas Gabon, but we're to the Betchume Bei Chemach. Chemach, I said it right. The Chemach in the city of Chemach. Rabbi was saying beautiful drashas. You missed it. Okay, here's another drasha. Surah Rabbi Milsachrita. Here's another question. Mi Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amarav Chatzis Shechata L'Shem Oila Psula. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rav, somebody designated a chatas, and then when he shachs it, L'Shem Oila. That's psula. It's like I asked Mr. Lambert, "Can I go to the bathroom?" He says, "Yes, you can open the window." So he designated for a chatas, and he shachs it l'shem oila. That's one.
Well,
So it's possible.
But he forgot. Why did he change his mind? I mean,
He either forgot. It could be for many reasons. Yeah, he forgot. Chata l'shem chulin. What's if when he shachted it, he designated for a chatas, but then he shachted l'shem chulin. He thought, it's already chulin de gebehema, not for a carbon. He didn't have mind for any carbon.
you can
Shada.
out the mizbeach.
Yeah, what do you mean? Why not?
If a person wants to eat some meat,
Thanks
he
to
goes-
you, we should
he goes
shacht
to the
on
mizbeach.
and
And
shachted it.
I
Yeah.
thought that was reserved only for Minyan.
No, l'shem chulin they were able to do it also.
Or we can shut down
Yeah, so he shach l'shem chulin, not l'shem carbon. It's kosher. Alma de mino machriba, the lamino le machriba. So we see if it was a chatas l'shem oila, that's it's the same mean. It's both kachim. What does he call it? Not kachim kalam. It's kachim. So therefore, it's in the same level chatas and oila. So then it's going to be puzzle. If you designate it for chatas, and then when you shakt it for oila, so the oila is oiked the whole chatas and makes it a puzzle. But if you designate it for chatas and you did it l'shem chulin, so it's a whole different min. It's not here it's kachim and here it's chulin. So you say if it's a different min, it doesn't puzzle it.
What should it possibly?
The carbon that it shouldn't be considered as a chatas.
First he
What's
had a
up?
mind for
You-
chatas,
yeah,
and
and then
he says, "I want to be a chulin."
oila, then it's a puzzle. Puzzle. L'shem chulin, and then shachtel l'shem chulin. He designated for a chatas.
And then he shafted it.
The l'shem chulin, then it's kosher.
Why?
So he says because it's shaloi b'mina, and shaloi b'mina is not a hefsek to the chatas. We continue it as a. We say he was.
Does not affect the
It
chulin.
doesn't uproot the chatas. The chulin doesn't uproot the
Yeah,
chatas.
Yeah, still has to
Huh?
bring it on the chatas.
No, the chulin doesn't uproot the chatas. He says.
Shaftin l'shem chulin. Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't
But
uproot
what
the
did he
chatas.
designate it for?
He designated for a chatas. It's kshera.
Why?
Says he says because if it's not its mean, it's not oiked the chatas. Only if it's the same in kachim and it's a different cupboard, then it's oiked the chatas and it makes it possible.
It's always not bringing the chatas.
No, I don't have to
No,
bring
the
the down there.
chatas
Come
are
on.
not affected the chulin.
The chulin didn't affect the chatas.
No, but he shafted the.
It doesn't matter if he shakted that way. He says
Why does not the chulin affects the chatas. The chat, he wanted a chatas, but he didn't. Then he went and
Here, Medivi Rabbi Mashma, Shachatas, Shachata L'Shem Chul Mikshera L'Gambi.
Yeah.
If it's why, but also L'Bayil L'Shem Chayim, he was here to L'Shem Chayim for the Chatas. Sharei Dina Kidim Chatas Shachta. Because the chulin cannot uproot the kedusha. Once something is kaddish, even though you shechel l'shem chulin, you cannot take away the kedusha. But one kedusha can take another kedusha away. The oila kedusha can remove the
It's
chatas.
a stronger kedusha.
Yeah, or it's even if it's the same, but it can make problems. But chulin is not taking away the kedusha. Also, we see the minah. If it's of its min machrba, it could uproot. Like a chatzis oila bol kachim, it could uproot the chatas.
That's what he means by that.
Yeah, the lab mina. If it's not of the same min, chulin and kachim are not of the same min. Loy machalo, it cannot uproot it. Or I mean, the effect. But akasha kol haget shenichta shalei l'shem isha pasel. It says any get that was written not for the l'shem the specific woman, it's pasel. But we know afilu l'shem avitz yicham nami pasel. Even for avitz yichavim, it's also going to be pasel.
He wanted for a goya.
Yeah, and a goy is b'chal not bas kedusha v'gerushin. It's not b'chal not in those laws, so it's considered as ein amina. It's like chulin.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't it be good? So he says, l'chayda it's ein amina. Over here you say ein amina is no good. It's possible, and by the company you say it is. And the Gemara Shani Rava answered, get is different. Remove the equation of Evedus Yechavim. What do you remain with? What type of a get? Havile stama. It's a stam get. What do we say about a stam get if it's not written lishma? Stama is the puzzle. Is puzzle. Mashein king kachim. Dal chulin menaya. Remove the chulin from there, right? This equation of chulin. What are you left with? Havile stama. So you have stam. Chulin. Don't say chulin. Just let stam. So it's chatas with stama. What do we say? Kshenim, stomach kshenim. If you remove the machshava of chulin,
So you say it's a stam call.
so what takes the place of the word of chulin? Stama. And stama by a carbon.
What he originally wanted to do.
And the original one was chatas. The stama goes to chatas. We said it before. It's like a carbon that was nishchat stam. So we said it's kosher. If you want to see in 15, if he brought down the case. I'm just going to see if I find it good. If not, it's also good. Okay. One second. That's by. No, he doesn't bring it over here. Just what? Ein chulin mechalin kachim. Okay, that we said before. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. It's like so we're using the words that it's a stam and a stam by a carbon is kosher, like we said before. Okay, but Rabbi asked another stira. Me Amar Rabbi Yehuda Marav chatas shechat l'shem oila psula. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rav, if he took a chatas, he took a behema designated for a chatas, slaughtered it as a oila, it's possible because it's both kachim. One kedusha uproots the other kedusha. Shchat l'shem chulin, sheira. If he shchat l'shem chulin, it's kosher, right? Because it's not of the same min. In fact, the Gemara alma d'minah machriba. So you see, if it's of its min, like chatas and oila are the same min, kachim, so then it'll machriba will be oike the chatas. The loymina, if it's chulin. It won't be like the chatas. In fact, we learned in the Braisa. Now let me just tell you, as a Hagdama, by Kli Cheres, the Torah says, if I can find the pasuk anyway, it says, "V'chol Kli Cheres asher yit mehem al teichei kol asher b'teichei yitma," and then it says you have to break it. By Cheres, the way it becomes tummy, it doesn't become tummy megaba. It can't. The outside does not become tummy. The way it becomes tummy, it's a chiddush mamish. If the tummy, even the avir of the keli, if there's food inside and you have a sheretz hanging inside the avir of the keli, the food inside is tummy. That's how, just by the avir. And the keli is also tummy if it's kli cheres. So the Gemara says over here, what about you have an oven? and you have a sheretz in the oven, then you have another kli cheres in the oven, and the kli cheres, the opening goes a foot and a half higher than the oven is a foot high, and the kli that's in it is a foot and a half. So the opening of the keli is above the cheres. Inside inside the oven is a sheretz. Inside the kli cheres that's inside the oven is fan asenbag. So we said that's gonna be tie, because it says in the pasuk toiche only if it's in the kli cheres. But if it's toiche the loy toiche. But if it's in the keli inside, and then inside the keli is fan, it's not going to be mamayit. Then so I'll say it inside. So it says toiche. The pasuk is kol kli cheres hashayipim mehem el toiche toiche. Only if it's in anything that's in the oven.
Well, not in the
But in the oven of cheres, everything, all the kosher food that's in the oven of cheres, that will become tamei. But whatever is, the food that's in the kli, which is in the oven of cheres, and the kli cheres is higher, then it's tar. Then he says,
If it's lower, it would be tamei. Right?
then if it's in the aver of the oven, so the aver of the oven comes into the aver of the kli and it's metame everything inside it. Then it's not considered teich teiche because it's all inside teich.
And when is he considered teich?
If the opening of it is higher than the opening of the oven, so the ear of the oven doesn't travel outside the oven.
This is the oven, right? And this is the keli.
Right.
Okay, sagt die Gemara.
Over here.
Yes, because
Now he says, "Vafilu kli shetef matzah." Even a kli shetef. What does it mean a kli shetef? There's a keli that by cheres there's no way of kashering it. You have to break it if tumah comes in. But there's a kli that's shetef. You can rinse it, put it in a mikveh. Shetef is rinsing it and dipping it matzel.
Yeah.
Even there, if there was a kli mateches, a metal kli inside the oven, and there was food in the kli mateches in the metal kli, it's going to be kosher. You're going to say a kli mateches, it should become tummy because it becomes tummy even from the outside. Migaboy. So he says that's what he's telling you, that even if it's the pasuk of teich means only if it's inside in the kli cheres, the whole keli is inside it. But if the kli mateches, the opening is on the top above the oven, so the food that's in the kli mateches is going to be kosher.
What if it's lower in? It would be,
Then it will be tummy, of
the
course.
same din as like
Any other thing, because that's called teich. That's called teich, not teich anymore. Okay, so the Gemara is asking, look, kli shetef or kli mateches is a different keli than the kli of the cheres. And when you say if it's not of the same kli,
same min.
if it's not of the same min, you just said shchat l'shem chulin is sheda. Shchat l'shem oila psula. So what do we see? The min of machrif. If it's of its min, it will uproot it. It will uproot it.
But the mattress is not the same min. So therefore, the food that's in the keli that's of mattress should be tar.
So it says even the kli itself remains tar. So
What do you mean even?
the name of Shlomo Zevachim said, one second. Lav mina machriba.
What do you mean matzel? It's matzel the food. So therefore, this keli here, take a clean empty cup, it's sticking in here. This is mattress, right? And there's food in here.
No.
So we say that this is matzel because it's a different. It's like a stam. It's not like the same clay like a clay cheres. So even if it's all the way in. Is that what it says? Even if it's all the way in?
But it can't be lower than this.
No, it's lower. Let's say if it's matras, and there's food in the matras, and it's lower in than the clay cheres, the oven that's clay cheres.
No. He's asking like this. If it's not its min, right? If it's if it's not its min, then it doesn't. It's not matzah. The kedusha remains. Remember what we said. chatas and oila, the oila takes it away because there's no hefsek. We don't say there's a hefsek in between. So l'chayda by the kli shata, by the kli mateches, why shouldn't it become tamei from the kli cheres? If it's she'ena mina, we say if it's not of its same min, so it's not mafsik. 40. So, huh? 22. 740.
20
Yeah, 15
more minutes. Yeah. So he says over here the kli. Here you're dealing with a kli cheres, the oven, and the keli that's in the oven is a kli mateches. So it's she'ena minai.
So therefore, the food in the
So
keli
it should become tamei.
It should.
It should. It's machliv. It penetrates. It doesn't make it a hefsek.
It's ain't a minay.
Right. If it's einay minoi, it should be machliv. Right. If it's not its min, it should be metame.
But you say that if it's
No, einay machliv. It shouldn't be machliv, meaning it shouldn't be a hefsek. Just like chulin is not a hefsek. It's not chulin and kachim are not the same.
Yeah.
So chulin is not a hefsek to the chatas; it stays as a chatas. So the tumah and the cheres that should be able to go straight into the mateches because the kli mateches is einay minoi, and if it's einay minoi, it's not a hefsek. Just like chulin, which is einay minoi, is not a hefsek. So too, the kli mateches shouldn't be a hefsek, and the tumah should be metamer.
What if it's a klei cheres inside? What did we say?
No, kli cheres is we said it's not metamer because teichel b'lei teichel. But we said why should it help by kli mateches? Because kli mateches is not the same min as the cheres, and if it's not the same min, it's like chulin has no effect over the chatos. So the kli mateches has no effect over the tumah. It's not matzil. It's not mafsik. The tumah of the cheres should go right through it. So Rabbi answered, they made that the chulin by kachim like a mechitza by tana. What does that mean? Let's say you put a mechitza in the oven, right?
Yeah.
And you have a sheretz on one side, and you have machalam on the other side in the oven, right? We say the tumah goes right through the mechitza. Because the mechitza goes all the way to the top of the oven. Doesn't help. Because the mechitza is not considered as a keli. He's saying the difference by mateches, even though it's metal, and the oven is cheres, but they have in common they're called a keli. They're both kli. So they both have a shem kli on it. So since they both have a shem kli on it, so it's the same mean. Mashen ki mechitza versus the kli cheres, the mechitza is nishkem keli, it's garnished. So since mechitza is einoi minoi, so therefore the tumah travels. A kli mateches is minai, because it's keli and keli. The oven is a keli, a kli cheres. It's one thing.
So what does it do if it's a klei?
If it's then we say it's mafsik, it's machliv, because it's minai machliv.
So therefore, what? So
Therefore, it's not tamei.
Okay, but if it's a
But a mechitza, which is not a kli, versus the cheres of the oven is a kli.
yeah.
So then it penetrates. The
goes
tumah goes right to the whole place. Yeah. So we learned in the Mishnah, an oven that was divided with wood, or with forehanging, or with the curtains. And they found the sheretz in one place. The whole place is tummy. Okay. If so, kaveres, shehi b'chusa of kuk b'kash. That kaveres was lechatchila. It was made out of reeds. It looks like a beehive, but it's a keli made out of a whole bunch of reeds. But it was opened. Once it was opened, and you had to clog it with the kash, with straw. It's ois kli. It doesn't have a name of a kli. So therefore, if there was kosher food in the kaveres that was inside the tanur, where there was avetuma, so we say it's all coming. And you had food is a basket like made out of reeds, and it had a whole bunch of holes, and he plugged the holes with kash, So he said it lost the name of a keli. Once it was open and he has to plug the holes, it's not called a keli. And he took the food that was in that kaveres and put it into the tanur, right, where all the tumah was. Sheretz b'sich atano tami, sheretz batanur. If the sheretz was in the ear of the tanur is tummy, of course. Sheretz batanur, oichlin shebesich tmeim. The oichlin that's in it is tummy. In the kaveres. I just want to mention one thing, that even though the tumah of a keli, if the tumah touches it, of a matechs on the outside, megabe becomes tamei, but that's only it's only by oichlin umashkin. It's megabe, not by kalim. That's why by kalim it wouldn't become tamei. I'm just saying stamas. By the matechs inside the aver atanor. We'll go back to it later. Okay, but Rabbi Elazar chaylev bit matar, and Rabbi Elazar argues, and he says even if there's a mechitza, and kosher food on one side, and the sheretz on the other side, the food is tahir. So Rabbi Elazar explains what's the reason. Kavachema, how im hitzil b'meis hacham or madoch, if there was a mechitza in a room and there was a mace on one side and the kosher food on the other side, it's tahir. The food is kosher. If a kli acheres with a sheretz, which you're dealing with only a sheretz with kli acheres, which is a much lighter tumah, for sure the food should be tired. So the Chacham said to Rabbi Elazar, I could slug up the kavachema. Im hitzel b'meis chamor shekein cholken oyalim. He says by a mace it makes sense in a house. You separate, you put the mace in one room and the food is in another room. But so tatzel, then you'd say, the kosher food gets saved. But be kli cheres hakal. But when you're talking about in a kli cheres, she'ein cholkim kli cheres. Nobody puts like mechitzas in an oven. You put a wall in. You don't do that. So therefore, it's unusual. That's why it's not considered as a kavachema. So because it's unusual. So in fact, you want to according to the Chachamim that they say mechitza is not chitzas b'seicha tanur, because he says it's not. A mechitza is not a keli, so it's not the same mean as the kli chares. So therefore, the tumah goes right through. That he says mechitza is chitza. It's Michael Mema. What are you going to say? So he says, when you have a mechitza in a tanur. So we understand. He says mechitza. I'm going to say mechitza is not a kli, so it's bottled to whatever the aver of the tanur is. And even though the food is on one side, Rabbi Elazar said it's good. The food is good. Yeah, what do you separated? Ma'iklamema. So he says,
that's what he holds. No?
But what's his reasoning? So he says, Rabbi Elazar kavachema kama, because Rabbi Elazar learned the kavachema from Tumas Mace. Yeah. Okay. So let us say also, by when he had in mind for a chatas, he designated for a chatas, and then he had in mind for chulin. So let's make a kavachema. It should be oiker. It should be possible. Why? If kachim mechalim kachim, if he designated for a chatas and then went for oila, it's mechal the chatas chulin like kol shekei sheichal es hakachim. Chulin for sure. Says Yomar El Ataima, the Rav Rabbi Elazar. Only the reason of Rav is like Rabbi Elazar, who is the Amira. The Rabbi Elazar, my time of the Rav. What's the reason of Rav that a chatos that was slaughtered l'shem chulin it's kasha? Because it says v'lo yichalu as kasha b'nei Yisrael. What does it mean? V'lo yichalu, the meaning that the machshavas of chulin won't passel the chatos that he designated for. What he separated for Hashem as a chatas, is the chalalu means the machshavas of chulin won't be mechalalit. Kachim mechalim kachim acherim. Kachim could be mechal others. Chulin mechalim kachim. That's how he learns the pasuk. So he has exeris akasim. So Gemara Alma Asakar I've given kavachema. So you see, even though Rabbi Elazar had a kavachema, but the pasuk was uprooted the kavachema by kachim. For Gemara Hacha here also by the Tanur. Let's say, let's bring the pasik and lafkim and kavachena, and let's uproot the kavachena, because you have the word teichet that tells you if it's in a kli, it's not going to become pasuk. I'm sorry, if it's in the kli, it's not going to become asur, and you can't make a kavachena. It should become. I'm saying teichet is is going to make an aser, but not teichei. And the whole kavachim Rabbi Eliezer that he made, imitzila hames chama loy tatz b'klei ches akal. So from teichei v'loy teichei is mashmat only if it's a kli, but not a mechitza. From teichei, the pasuk tells you
In the same kli.
if it's one kli and another kli. But if it wasn't a kli, it was a piece of wood that was dividing. That's not a keli. And Rabbi Eliezer wants to say even the mechitza should be good, but the pasuk should uproot his kavachema. He made a kavachema that a mechitza should be good for mace, but mechitza. But if we have a pasuk that says mechitza is no good, from teichei it has to be a kli. So you should remove the so you shouldn't have the kavachema. So Rabbi Eliezer said, I need it for something else. He took food and he surrounded it with plaster. He brought it into the ear of the Tana. I would have thought, when you touch a food that's covered with plaster, you're touching the plaster. The food doesn't become tamei.
Right.
So I would have thought, so even if it comes into a kli cheres where there's tumah, I would have thought, the tumah is not penetrating through the plaster. Along comes the pasuk of Teich, tell you it does. Rabbanan, what do Rabbanan do? Says, how did they know that the avir of tumah will be metame even a food that was covered over with plaster? Says Hanach leitzur, you don't need a pasuk with that. According to the Chachamim, it was a pash tezach that the avir penetrates. It's a much stronger tumah. Zaki Mari, Rav Yisrael Rav Ami Ravi. Rav Yisrael Rav Ami asked the kasha. Shina ba'kodesh. You have a shina ba'kodesh on shina ba'olim. What does that mean? So this is how Rav Yisrael asked the shaila. Me Amar Rav, didn't Rav say chatas shechot l'shem chatas? A chatas that was slaughtered for the sake of a chatas ksheda. But if he did it l'shem oila, psula. Alma the lab mina machreba. So you see, if it's not of its min, here's the opposite. He says if it's not its min, meaning oila lagabe chatas, he calls it not its min. So he says oila lagabe chatas is psula, because the lab mina. But the mina loy machreba. But if he's designated for a chatas for chelev, and he shachted a chatas for dam, but both chatas. So he says then it's kosher. Only for oil it's not going to be kosher. In fact, you might Rav has learned the opposite. If somebody slaughtered a chatas for one who's chayiv a chatas, that and he was for one person, it was designated to shechter one person, and he shechted the chatas for another person. Okay, even though the psula it's possible. But what's if he shechted for one person who's chayiv? He designated the carbon for a person for a chatas, and then he shechted for another person who's chayiv ayla. So we said ksheda. So alma the bami not machreba. Here you see if it's of the same mean, it uproots the chatas. And we said it's not the first case, yeah, when he was marked for two different people, right? But if it's not of the same carbon, meaning he had in mind to be marked for one person a chatas, and then he shachted it for another person for ayla. We said it is good. So Mishani, they said, Gemara answers, there's a difference if you're talking about the chatas, shinui kodesh, chatas ayla, or you're talking about shinui bailan. It's one, he had in mind for one person and he did it for another person. What's the difference? Hasam by v'shachadais lechatas. There, when he shachted he designated for a chatas, but for a chatas for chelev, and then he shachted the same carbon, the same person, but for the isa of dam. So he said that's good because the Torah says v'shachadais lechatas amar akmana v'arei chatas l'shem chatas nishchata. He shachted l'shem chatas, so that's good. But halcha, when he shechted for one person for a chatas, and then he did it for a second person for a chatas, then bechipa love koyin ksiv. It says it has to be on that same person. Allah v'lo al chaveira. It has to be for his chava. Chaveira domi the day, meaning even though his chava also is chayva chatas like him, but it cannot. It won't be kosher if it was made for Reuben and he shechted the chatas for Shimon. It's not going to be good. But what's if he designated to shecht as a chatas for Reuven, and then he shechted as a oila for Shimon? Then it's good. The only issue was only if they both were in the same category of chatas, and he had in mind for Reuben and chatas, and he did it for Shimon. Rabbi Chaviva Rami Shina Bayum Atich Teichei Umeshani. What's the kash? Umi Amar Hav. Didn't Rav say chatas shechata al misha mechuyev chatas psula al misha mechuyev eila ksheira? Alma de mina machriba. If it's of the same min, you are machriba. Lab mina loy machriba. But if it's not of the same min, you don't. It doesn't uproot it. But Tanya would like Labraisa. It says teichei v'loy teichei. I feel a klishata matzah. So you see, even a klishata which is not of the same min, it's still going to not become tummy. The chayda we say if it's not of the same min, it should the tumah should go through. There are 4 teichei written. Really, there's 2 teichei, but you learn each teichei alimo teich and teichei. Twice it says teichei, and the yitu is choy with the vav, and so you have 4 times teichei teich teichei teich. It says chad legufe. One is to tell you kli cheres is metame deichlin in the ear. V'chad legzeder shava. One is to tell you that the sheretz is metame the kli from its ear, even though it's not touching it. Okay, chad teichei is that of the kli cheres is metame, but loy teich shel kol acher. Yeah, mamish a minute. Loy teich shel kli acher. But meaning a kli has to be not a kli of eitz or mataches. They don't become tamei through the aver, or the only one that becomes tamei in the ear is kli cheres. Either teichei, this last one, to tell you that even a kli shata, which is not its min, right? You would think it's not its min. He's come to tell you it becomes if it's in the kosher food is in the keli and it's higher than the cheres oven, the food in the kli matachas is going to be kosher.